I want us to touch on 3 areas: relationships, career, and money. Coming up, negotiation starts in the bedroom. If you can't negotiate for yourself in the bedroom, how can you negotiate in the boardroom?
Oh, hello.
So,
And you know how in August we have this theme in South Africa as women, watinda bafazi, watinda mbogodo, you strike a woman, you strike a rock, right?
Yes.
And they scream it and they're excited, and I'm like, I really hate it because you're not a rock. You're a person. What's personal is also professional because it's still you, right? If
You can't shapeshift.
you can't shapeshift in those ways. Oh, we're gonna get cows. When I started developing breasts, they would say, oh, the cows are showing, like the horns are showing. And so the message was not about my dreams.
We call it the altituders.
Yeah, I like that.
I am on a mission.
I like
to
that so
achieve-
much. The altituders.
Oh my gosh, the 2 of us are naughty together. Can you imagine?
I choose not to self-abandon anymore. Authenticity costs community. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Wow, that's deep.
Yes.
When she comes into the family, they sit her in the circle
Yeah.
to reprimand her by the families because culturally she's overstepped a line.
Oh.
But how can she split herself from who she is as a C-suite member and then coming into the culture?
And then you have to be okay with the consequences of that trade-off. And that's where people get stuck. Hey! I'm going to come in swinging.
Like punch it. Before we dive into today's conversation, a heartfelt thank you to our sponsors who make this podcast possible. Your support helps us share powerful stories, spark important dialogue, and amplify voices that matter. We're proud to partner with brands that believe in our mission and invest in meaningful conversations. Hey conscious leaders, welcome. Today we are diving into a topic that sits at the heart of so many women's lives, often quietly, often painfully, the cost of people pleasing. Now, people pleasing can look like kindness, generosity, or being the one everyone can depend on. But when that kindness comes out of the expense of our own needs, our own dreams, and our own boundaries, it turns into self-abandonment. Over time, the cost shows up everywhere in our careers, our finances, in our relationships, and even in how we see ourselves. That's why this conversation is so important. We want to unpack why people-pleasing takes hold, how it impacts the way we show up in life, and most importantly, how to break free without losing our compassion or connection to others. I'm so excited to be joined by Khanyi Mnyaka. And Khanyi is a life coach and a storyteller who helps women to recognize the patterns that keep them small and guides them towards healing, boundaries, and radical self-love. Her work is deeply rooted in personal experience and the lessons she has drawn from her own journey, as well as the many people she has supported in reclaiming their voice and power. So I couldn't think of anybody better to join me today to talk about this thing called people pleasing. Yay!
I'm going to come in swinging.
Like punch it. Welcome. I can just feel like this is going to be a very energetic conversation. Just be embraced.
Yeah, I have coffee.
And you've got coffee? Okay, so you're all set. Let's just jump into it.
Yeah.
Right. Why are we always talking about this topic? What is the root of people pleasing? And how is it holding us back?
I think we don't talk about it enough, actually. I think just it's like everyone knows what it is, but we don't really know what it is. And when the question of what's the root of it, I think it's so nuanced in the sense that it's different for different people. For example, when I share my story of people pleasing, I talk about growing up in a household with an abusive stepfather. And so I had to learn how to appease him so I can be safe. So for me, in high school, which is around the time where I was in his home with my mom and my brothers, mind you, I'm 14, 15, so it started at a really, really young age where I had to know what he is going to present. He was an alcoholic. So that level of chronic empathy, I call it, where I could tell what type of drunk he was by how he would breathe. And based on that type of drunk, I would have to shift my behavior to keep myself safe. So that for me, the root was safety. For other people, people pleasing is how they receive love. The only time mom and dad said, we're so proud of you, is when you were good at something. You got good grades. We're so proud of you. You're the best sports person in school. We're so proud of you. Outside of your performance, you're not getting that love. You're not getting that validation. So you people please, you overperform, you self-abandon in relationships because that's what you know and you have interpreted as love. So it depends on, I like to say, it depends on your environment growing up. It depends on why it started anyway.
Yeah. And one thing about people pleasing is the more you people please, the more you're saying my needs don't matter.
Yeah.
And the more invisible you become.
Yeah.
And especially in this conversation, we always say, take up more space. Take up more space. You cannot take up more space if you are not willing to stop people pleasing. And it's uncomfortable, just like authenticity is uncomfortable, really uncomfortable.
Yes, and can I say that those two go together? You can't be a people pleaser and be authentic.
Ha, that's deep. Okay, elaborate.
Let me walk with you through it. If my goal is to people please, that means I show up in relationships, whether it is at work, with friends, with anyone. My goal is to contort and to shapeshift in who I think they want me to be. So authenticity doesn't survive in a space where the intention is to contort and to shapeshift. Authenticity survives when I show up and say, whether they like me or not, this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to show up in that space.
Yeah.
So you can't be a people pleaser and be authentic at the same time.
And I mean, I can feel such a presence from Khanyi, so like, oh, I wish you were here in the studio. But I mean, what's also for me interesting is this whole thing around, we speak about authenticity in so many ways, but then there's so many non-negotiables that we say we're not going to please on it, but we end up doing it. I just did it the other day.
Me too. We just had this conversation.
I was just like, the other day I was compromising on a business deal, and I was like, you know what, I am willing to take my cost down just a little bit, and I immediately felt violated, but violated against myself.
Yeah.
Like, why did I allow that boundary to be overstepped? And talk me through that emotion and what does that all mean when you do that? Because I almost feel like the more people pleasing you actually applying in your life, the more fake you feel. And it's the self-abandoning of like, I'm actually not who I want to be in the world. And that's where that big volcano erupts eventually, where all things go down. But we have to take accountability
all the time. And I like the word self-abandonment there.
Yeah.
Because one of the signs of people pleasing is self-abandonment. Those go two and two together. Because for me to please and appease others, I have to abandon me. I can't be in a space of people pleasing and also setting boundaries and also being authentic and also advocating for myself, which is what you're talking about. You were put in a space where self-advocacy disappeared for whatever reason. And I know that feeling. I just did it the other day too. And this is why I approach this work from, I am a recovering people pleaser.
I love that.
Because I am aware of the behavior, but I do find myself still in moments where I go, yo, Khanyi, that was not it. And it was business for me too, right? Where I was like, oh, am I worth this? And then people pleasing too, you start to question your own worth. And I was like, maybe, so let me charge this. And then a friend was like, you should have charged that because that's actually what it was going for. But in that business deal, they didn't tell me. They were just like, yep, we'll get you for half the price. Okay, let's go. So I shortchanged myself in that feeling of, I know I deserve more. And I think a lot of women go through the world with that feeling of, I know I can be more, I know I deserve more, but there's something, and society has convinced me that because of my womanhood, I deserve less, and I should expect less, and I should be grateful for less.
Yes, it's exactly that thing. And I mean, like, for me, I'm a very bold person. I think we both have this, like personality. But I mean, in the end of the day, I make mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, like I do self-abandonment many times, but I think that it's how quickly you get up and realize this thing has just happened now. How do I prevent this from happening next? So I think before we go into the the rocky moments of how you get up, right? Take me through like typical symptoms that women can understand how they're people pleasing in certain circumstances.
Oh my God. I was speaking at a women's event last Friday. And I want to start with this for this question. It's going to make sense. I like to tell stories. And you know how in August we have this theme in South Africa as women, watinda bafazi, watenda imbokodo, you strike a woman, you strike a rock, right?
Yes.
And they scream it and they're excited. And I'm like, I really hate it because you're not a rock. You're a person. And when we are bred into a culture where women have to show strength that doesn't exist, that's when we start those people-pleasing tendencies too. Because when I am showing up and I have to be a strong woman, then weakness or vulnerability is seen as weak. Asking for help is seen as weak. Saying I can't, saying no is seen as no, you should be able to every time. And then there's another thing that I really work around with my clients is the fixer syndrome. Because if I am strong, then I take it upon myself to try and fix everyone else around me. So you're constantly entering relationships where you are Bob the Builder, where you are fixing people, and you attract relationships with quote unquote broken people because you yourself, see your worth and value based on what people can get from you.
That's so true. Sure. The other day with Jingjin Liu from Singapore, when we were talking, she said negotiation starts in the bedroom. If you can't negotiate for yourself in the bedroom, how can you negotiate in the boardroom?
Oh, hello.
So it's people pleasing is something that follows you everywhere. And if we want to see change, if we want to embrace it, we really need to start thinking about, if I can't get this right in my own personal environment and those boundaries being overstepped, how on earth can I negotiate for the change I want to see in the world?
Or in your business. Like
in your business, yes.
In your, like the women that I've worked with so far, I've worked with like doctors and lawyers, and one of my clients, we just finished a program. She runs her own accounting firm in Cape Town. And she came to me because she was like, I struggle with people pleasing and it's affecting my work. So the thing is, if you're a people pleaser at home, chances are you're a people pleaser at work, you're a people pleaser in your business, because what's personal is also professional, because it's still you, right? If
you can't shapeshift.
You can't shapeshift in those ways. You can't be like, at work, I set solid boundaries, and at home, my boundaries are shaky and they don't exist.
But now you're touching on something also important, is this cultural barriers that we have. So there are many cultures where a woman falls into a hierarchy at home. And I have one of my friends, she's a C-suite, but she's so cheeky, right?
Yeah.
When she comes into the family, they sit her in the circle to reprimand her by the families because culturally she's overstepped a line. But how can she split herself from who she is as a C-suite member and then coming into the culture and how culture is treated?
Chimamanda Ngozi talks about how people make culture and not the other way around. And I think one of the things that, because I'm from a culture where people pleasing is celebrated.
Sure.
You know, I'm Xhosa. And so when I show up in my family and I do everything that I'm asked to do, then it's like, now you're a good person. Now you're
showing respect.
Now you're a good woman. Now you're showing respect. Now you're saying yes to everything. For me, I had to really sit with that statement by Chimamanda Ngozi that people make culture. And as hard as it was, I had to be resilient. I had to say, this is who I am to my family, and this is either you love me or you don't, and this is how I choose to show up. There's a trade-off, though, right? There is a trade-off to boundaries. There's a trade-off to authenticity. And I talk about that trade-off because it is so important to understand that for some people in their families, in their cultures, authenticity costs community. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Wow, that's deep.
Yes. So it's a choice that you have to make every single day.
Go deeper into this. This is really, really deep.
Who am I going to abandon? Am I going to abandon myself?
Yeah.
Or am I going to abandon cultural norms that no longer serve me?
Sure.
And then you have to be okay with the consequences of that trade-off. And that's where people get stuck. And that's where they continue the pattern because they're not okay with the consequences. Because everything costs something.
Yeah.
Authenticity costs something. I lost friends. I lost community. I've been living away in different parts of the world for 15 years, you know, coming out about sexuality and owning that truth. It cost a lot, but you get to a point in your life where you say, I choose not to self-abandon anymore. And the cost of that choice sometimes, and most of the times, especially when culture is involved, is community.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced it in my life as well. Like this is who I am. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to surround myself with and who I want to surround myself with. I call it the altituders.
Yeah. I like that.
I am on a mission.
I like that so much.
So I'm always on a mission to identify the altituders in my life.
Yeah.
Because I am all about who I want to be and how I want to show up in the world. And there's going to be altituders around you that's like an anchor that drags you, keeps you here, that you can't climb to the highest of heights in your life, your career, your relationships, the dreams that you're hoping for. And then you've got, you know, the altituders that carry the weight with you, that walk with you on the journey, and when you're tired are there to cheer you on. And I think that assessment is so important, not to have people in your life for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Everybody must deserve your presence.
Deserve. Oh my God, I was saying this to someone yesterday. People must earn your presence. They must earn your story. They must earn your trust. They must earn your time. You can't just give that for free. When you were doing that thing, the altituders.
Oh my gosh, the two of us are naughty together. Can you imagine? Yeah.
What I imagined is that community that is doing this. And a lot of us, instead of going, where are my altituders? Where are the people that will do this?
Yeah.
But then what we are afraid of doing is this. Before we find them, we have to float alone for a while, right? We have to isolate in altitude alone until we find that community.
Yeah.
But we get so stuck in not wanting to let go of this because we fear that isolation of altituding on ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, altitude climbing is an attitude, not an aptitude. So it's about...
Are you taking notes?
So it's really about, you know, the attitude that you bring towards that. And I did a research study for conscious leaders to try and understand women and their dreams.
Yeah.
And where does this whole, because we wait on our dreams, we don't not always make them happen. Oh, when the kids are out of the house, then I'm going to open that business. Or when this happens, then I'm going to do this. Or I have to have the perfect brand when I have funding to get a content creator and a designer, and not thinking ideas start shaping the moment you start working on them. They start forming the moment you work on it. And being more invested in the journey rather than the outcome. In the research study, what we have found was that about 76% of the women that completed the study know what their dreams are but haven't started working on them.
Ooh.
That and how sad is that for me is like, how are you holding yourself back because you're people pleasing? I have a family to take care of. You know, like, let's take an example. If I can negotiate for my worth, if I can negotiate for my worth, and I'm worth, say, 120,000 Rand a month instead of 60,000 Rand a month.
I was going to say an hour, but okay.
Yeah. Yes, an hour. Listen, I have to have this chick around me all the time. Oh my gosh, you're the altituder. You're the carry my bag.
Let's go.
But I mean, if you know that you can negotiate that and negotiate your terms, how you want to work, and that you are not compromising your job on doing the things that you're weak at, but doing the things that you're really good at, and you can have that negotiation, you have more time. And I feel like we as women have so many responsibilities. We have so many things to do. So we really have to become good at negotiation. We have to be good at not people pleasing so that we actually can have more time for ourselves.
But for us women, it's going to take a lot of mindset shifting. because we are from a really young age. I want you to think about the questions you were asked versus your male, if you have brothers or your male cousins. You were asked about, do you have a boyfriend, right? They were asked about what's your future dream, and so even from then, like in my culture, I write about this in my book. One of the questions that I remember being asked the most was, or the statements that were made were, "Oh, we're gonna get cows." When I started developing breasts, they would say, "Oh, the cows are showing, like the horns are showing." And so the message was not about my dreams. The messages were about, you're gonna be married, you're gonna have kids, you're going to be a good, and then this is another word that really messes up women, good. You're going to be a good woman, you're going to be a good mother, you're going to be a good wife. And then we attach that goodness to people pleasing. So for me to be good, I have to give off the shirt on my back. That makes me a good person. For me to be good, I have to give you my last 1,000 rands. That makes me a good person. I am nice and I am kind when I am doing for others, even at the expense of myself. And so the mindset shift that women have to go through is goodness is not attached to self-abandonment. And for me, I got to a space where I say I'm not a nice person. I'm not, and I don't want to be a nice person. I'm a kind person. And there's a difference. There's a book called The Disease to Please, and she breaks it down so beautifully that kindness still says, I'll be kind to you, but I'll be kind to myself first. I'll still say no. That doesn't mean I'm mean. It just means I'm taking care of myself. And so, but niceness asks you to do this all the time. Okay, yes. And so when you're committed to niceness, how can you then implement and start a life that you want, right? Because now you have to show up for everyone. Did you grow up in the church?
Oh, yeah, lots of trauma.
Do you know Proverbs 31?
All right, maybe first say what I was saying, because otherwise you're all going to go like, I grew up in a very nationalistic type of environment that has really taken a lot for me to deal with. So that's why I'm saying that. So please don't think that I'm saying it for. But tell me Proverbs 31.
There's a scripture in Proverbs, and it's called the Proverbs 31 woman. And it describes this perfect woman that does it all with ease. That she wakes up and she goes to the market and she comes home and she cooks for her husband and she cleans and she's carrying this weight. And now when you add the religious nuance to people pleasing, is you have so many women that want to be Proverbs 31 women. And no offense at all, because religion can be touchy. But what I have seen in my work with my clients is the exhaustion they're not naming, the resentment they're not naming, the anger they're not naming, because they're trying to live up to an unrealistic standard that you can't be that. We need help.
Yeah. You know, I'm so glad that we're having this conversation. I mean, it's not a conversation I have, just with everybody, but, looking at what's happening in the world right now, and especially over there,
where I used to live.
Yeah, we used to live. I used to work there for 4.5 years. Okay. But I mean, it really triggers me because as a little girl, we were in this church that was very much like the nedergereformeerde kerk. Okay. The women and the men sit in the front, the women, and it was only a certain race allowed. It was like, it's hardcore. And I once went to a healer, a Reiki healer, and she was busy doing healing on me. And she says, I don't know why, but I'm just hearing like there's a lot of trauma with church with you. I was like, don't even go there. You know that I didn't like to go to the toilet. Like I was literally holding in everything when I was like 5 years old. I stimmed and scratched myself to blisters because I was panicked about the future, and I was panicked about the end of the world. I was panicked about like, why is there not women? I used to ask my mom, like, why is there not a lot of mention of women in the Bible? Like those kind of questions at a very, very young age bothered me. And I'm not, it's just the way that religion has made me feel that I'm not good enough. And
girl, you're preaching to the choir right now.
it took a lot of hard
Yeah.
work. And I don't think that I think religion is beautiful also because it teaches you righteousness.
And love.
And love and the teachings and all of that, you know, and they're all interconnected. And when you start learning and being curious about all of it, but my point that I'm trying to drive home with this particular one is this mirror in culture that tell us that we have to be a certain way, we have to appear like this. I am every day thinking, oh my word, like why? And for me, the moment people ask me, so what is it that you do, is the first question, my red flags go up. Because you're already telling me how you're going to respect me.
Oof.
You are judging me, and you're making up how much respect you are going to give me
based on what I
do,
not on who I am. Sometimes when I run the seminars, I do these seminars, and it's mostly women who attend. I go, introduce yourself. Women will be like, my name is Khanyi. I have 2 kids. I am an engineer. I have and then I say, remove the labels, remove the care, remove the label you wear in other people's lives, and tell me who you are outside of that.
Yeah.
The breakage. The
you know how hard it is to do it?
It's so hard, and the hardness of it is people get to unveil themselves and say, I am someone that is in pain. I am someone that struggles with communication in relationships. I am a people pleaser, right? And then because now I am removing the relationships that you have tied your identity to.
The masks.
It's the masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating thing for me, and I think it's so important to be okay without the titles, because I think we're moving into a future where titles don't matter.
No.
Because we're going to become multidisciplinary thinkers. We have to be multidisciplinary thinkers.
We have to.
Polymaths. We have to be critical thinkers. But in order to do that, you're not going to just have a skill as a financial director. You're going to perhaps be a financial director, environmentalist, and a coach.
Yeah.
So there's 3 different things that you're going to have to be, and you have to be whatever you need to be in the room.
Yeah. It's because I'm a coach, I'm an entrepreneur because I run my own coaching practice. It's like I'm all the things at the same time. And so when I enter spaces, it depends on if I'm invited to work, obviously I show up as a coach. But I like what you're saying, that in my personal life, I would love us as a society to start asking questions and try our best to not care.
Yeah.
Don't care about what I do, right? Like what I do is just, it's what I do. It's not who I am.
Yeah, and for me that is self-preservation. It's like it's like really how I see how people act around you when you are connected, when you have have a title, platform. When there's money involved, those things I'm very guarded.
Yeah.
Because I want to see where the respect is and where the respect comes from. You can discover later what it is that I'm doing. I just want to know that this is a trust relationship.
Yes.
And it's important not to want to people please during the beginning stages when you meet new people.
Yes.
That beginning
I say
initiation.
that all the time. Especially, and I'm like, if you're someone that struggles with boundaries with the people that you already have, practice in the new relationships.
Yeah.
Start being like, this is Carmen. I don't like doing this. I don't like hiking. So I'm not going to go. You'll go have fun. Do you know how many times people will go hiking and then complain about how they went hiking? Because they don't know how to say no. So I go, okay, we will take time with the old relationships because those people have already created an identity or an idea for who you are with your help. Because let's also be self-responsible. Every relationship that I've been in, even when I feel harmed in that relationship, I have participated
100.
in creating this person that this person is in relationship with. Even if I was people-pleasing and appeasing, I still participated in co-creating this relationship and the Khanyisa that's in that relationship.
Yeah.
And so my responsibility in new relationships now is to say, okay, this is who Khanyisa is. These are my boundaries. This is what I like, and this is what I don't like. And for some women, sadly, I think a lot of people, it starts with self-discovery. What do I like? People pleasers don't know what they like. Like literally, I have clients where I'm like, get a jar, write hobbies jar, and I want you to think of the most random things. because we need to know what you like.
Yeah.
It can't be, it has to be somatic work. It can't be work that you just do in your head.
Yeah.
It has to be something that's intentional and that
I
takes
love
action.
that.
So there will be like hiking or restaurants and this, and I go once a week, go grab a thing, go do it, decide if you don't like it or if you like it.
Yeah.
Toss what you don't like, keep what you like, but go and have the experience so that you can start to rediscover yourself again.
And that's where consciousness comes in. So Callum, behind the scenes, had an interesting, we had a chat before you came around Tarzan. So think of Tarzan. He sees he doesn't know that cars exist out there, outside of the jungle. Where he's at, there's no such thing as cars.
Yeah.
So this is the world that I'm living in, and this is how I'm participating in this world. He sees a car for the first time and realizes, I can't drive. I need to learn how to drive. Learns to drive, and then it becomes autopilot, where you learn the skill to do that.
Exactly.
That's exactly the same thing as becoming conscious of where you are people pleasing. When you are people pleasing, and getting to a stage where you can be more on autopilot with it, even if it's not in all parts. But I really feel like in our brag books, we need to celebrate ourselves when we actually overcome people pleasing.
Oh my God, yeah.
Hey, that should be the first one in the brag book.
Yeah, like,
when you forget how amazing you are.
People please. Oh, I set my rate and I got it. Yes. Jay Shetty talks about it in terms of a rock. He's like, when you're starting out with like setting boundaries and saying no, think about it as having a rock in your pocket. When the first time you put that rock in your pocket, it's heavy. But the more you do it, the rock doesn't get lighter, you just get stronger. Right?
Yeah.
And so maybe for some of us, the rock is the guilt.
Yep.
It's not that the guilt has gone away, it's that you have what you're talking about. You've practiced setting boundaries, you've practiced saying no. There's a thing in the mental health and motivational culture that I don't enjoy, where it's like, just say no and full stop. And my approach to that is no. Say no and lie. That's fine. Say, I am homesick.
That's the first time I heard somebody say that.
Because you don't know how to. And when you say no and full stop, now we're inviting shame. Now, yes. Now we're saying go big or go home. I haven't gone home yet. So I don't know what that means. So I'm going to say no and lie the first time. The second time, I'm going to say no and give an explanation. I am going to build up to no being a full sentence. But I'm not going to lie to myself and say no is a full sentence and deal with the shame of not knowing how to do it.
Yeah. You know, shame is an interesting thing for me. I went to my kinesiologist the other day, and we were talking about perfection, and she said to me, you know, perfection is interesting because shame is the root of perfection.
Yeah.
And I was like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like getting that no perfect.
Yeah.
Like, because this is the way we've been told to tell no, and you are getting that thing perfect, but something is still feeling it's not in alignment with my values, or it's not the way that I want to say no. And I also feel like, so when I also believe that, no, as you say, no is not a full sentence, because you feel like you want to explain and you feel like you want to give a little bit. But I do think having mantras ready is also important. Be mantra ready. Like, have a few, like when you're on the spot, like, bring that mantra out. You know, I've already got other engagements. Don't give specific or whatever the case might be. But the reality is, you do have other engagements.
Yeah.
It's not like you're lying.
But like, you know,
it's okay. Spend time with your family.
You want to spend time with your family, and that's okay. I approach this journey for myself too, and for my clients as well, as like, you are a baby when you're starting at anything. So you're not going to say to a baby, walk already.
Yeah.
You're going to say, crawl, find furniture, use it. And now you can walk, and now you can, you know, there's the expectation of sink or swim. It's like, no, teach me how to paddle first. To give me the tools so that when I do get into those deep waters, I don't drown. A lot of people end up reverting back to the people they don't want to be anymore, because we've started them at drowning and didn't give them the tools to slowly and self-lovingly and gently getting themselves to where they want to be.
And that results in more self-abandonment, because now there's guilt about the fact that I'm not actually doing what I've been told because I can't do it. So it's finding that balance. I want us to touch on 3 areas: relationships, career, and money, and where people pleasing is really playing off on this one. Can you, for example, let's start with money.
Okay.
Because I think we as women, and I put my hand up as like, I think I can do better. I think I'm worth more, and I can negotiate better. How do I do it? What is the key to that? And what happens when I don't? What gets lost?
Part of the people pleaser experience is the lack of self-advocacy. And that means the ability to speak for yourself, to ask for what you need. You know, when you hear people be like, just ask for what you need, people pleasers struggle with that concept, because a lot of the times we don't know what we need. And because we've just been so busy meeting other people's needs, and we've defined our role in society as that, meeting other people's needs. But I think the journey for a lot of women when it regards to money in their careers, especially when you know, it is self-advocate. Go into that room. I do mirror work with my clients a lot. You know, the
power pose.
Power pose.
Yeah.
Oh, it works.
It does.
Before you walk into that room, power pose. Put that and then look at yourself and be like, I deserve this. And you know you do. You know you've been doing this job for as long as you have, and you've been kicking ass at it, and you deserve that amount of money. But there's something inside of you. Some people call it imposter syndrome. Some people call it lack of self-worth, whatever you want to call it. But there's that thing that wants to convince you that you don't deserve it. So sometimes that mirror work and those mantras and affirmations that you spoke about earlier is really how you rewire your brain. Dr. Caroline Schiff talks about rewiring the brain, right? And you rewire the brain by telling yourself a different story. People say to me, when I do that, I feel like I'm lying. And my response to you is, lie then. Because you've been lying so far. The only difference is
Mic drop. You're conscious that you're lying. This is not an unconscious lie, you know?
The difference is you've just been telling yourself a terrible lie. You've been telling yourself a lie that you are not enough, that you are not worthy, and you've been walking in that lie. Now tell yourself a good lie, that you are enough, that you are worthy. And here's another thing, you have proof. You have proof of your worth.
I love this. Oh my gosh.
Right? So that's where
giving permission, like it's giving a permission slip and say, okay, right, till you get this right, this is your IOU.
Yeah.
Just don't keep on doing it. Just like eventually you've got to flex that muscle.
But it's habit creation.
Yes, yes.
That's what habits are. If I have have you read Atomic Habits?
No, I haven't.
By James Clear. It's a brilliant book. I think you will love it.
Yeah.
It's such a good book. But his whole idea is that's what habits are. The small things that we do every day. That's why I'm saying, like, you've been telling yourself a lie that doesn't work for you. And you've built that habit and you've created an identity out of those lies. Yeah. Right? So you want to say affirmations, you feel like you're lying? Do it for consistently for a month and start to see how your brain believes it. And your brain starts to act accordingly, because now that has landed as truth for you.
And I mean, like, this is interesting. You know, you give me a client example where you, for example, have nurtured them through this conversations around money in their work environment, and how people pleasing has held them back, but freed them in ways that they couldn't imagine.
Yeah. So one of my clients
if you're allowed to, obviously.
No, I'm just not going to say your name, but you know who you are. The accountant, she started the business herself, and a young 23-year-old from East London, she's a baby. She starts this accounting firm and it blows up. She moves to Cape Town and it blows up. Now she starts having partners. But what happens is she keeps the same salary. The amount of work still piles onto her. She's still doing everyone else's job, and she's tired and she's exhausted. Her marriage is struggling. Her sense of self is struggling, and she's unable to set boundaries. So when I tell you, we sat down and we're like, what belongs to you? What doesn't belong to you? Because all of this is affecting how you see yourself, and it's affecting your money. Because if I'm doing the same job as John over there, but John is giving me some of his work, and Chad is giving me some of his work, then I'm tired. Then I'm not performing at my peak performance because I'm exhausted. So the journey for her was delegate. what belongs to me, what doesn't belong to me. Delegate. And part of that was to remove the people pleasing, the macro and micro managing of her staff. And then when she could set those boundaries, then growth happened. The more clients came in because her capacity stretched, because she stopped people pleasing and she was able to say, you go into this, you go into that, and this is what I'm going to do here. Yeah.
And also when your business starts getting busy like that, you have the right to increase your prices at that moment in time.
Yeah.
That's when you start saying, I need more staff so that I can
staff.
actually be a second me. Like
And,
there's a lot
also
to think
you
about.
allow, and you say no to people that want to give you more.
Yeah.
It's one thing to want to give me more when you're doing more. It's
Yeah.
another thing to want to give me more because you don't know how to do a job you said you know how to do in the interview.
Yeah.
Like, make that make sense.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so what's the next one? Let's look at, okay, so that one kind of like married, career and money for me. Let's talk about relationships.
Oh, my babies. With the relationships. They are so hard. They are so hard because I think for women, they, like I said, they convince us that we should value marriage and we should do everything to get married. It's almost like it's a prize.
Yeah.
And like men are a prize. And so what I've seen in really, oh man, it's so heartbreaking. And I've participated in that too. And I call it self-harm. It's self-harming to be in relationships, and it's nuanced. There are some women that can't live abusive relationships because of the financial impact that it will have in their lives, in their children's lives. And also there are women who can, but they are so attached to this version of themselves that is in a relationship. Especially, I'm going to stick to the romantic relationship part of this, that for me to see myself as a fully worthy woman, I need to have a partner, even if I'm in a relationship where that partnership is not a partnership. Like the amount of calls I get day in and day out from women who say, I've lost myself in this relationship. And women who say, I miss how confident I used to be. I miss that person I was before I started playing small, silencing myself just to be someone this man can be okay with. Because sometimes you get into relationships with people that are intimidated by your power, that are intimidated by your ambition, that are intimidated by your light. And to stay in relationship with them, you pull back who you are.
Yeah,
You people please through that relationship, and it's really, really harmful. You say yes to things that you really want to say no to. And you think that if I say no to this, I'm going to lose this relationship.
Yeah, it's like that thing that Carl Jung says, I actually wrote it down. You can spend your whole life being liked, not being seen once.
Exactly.
Hey?
Exactly. And then it's so funny. We're aligned today. Because what I kept thinking about today is like, people pleasers struggle with, I don't feel seen. And I'm like, well, you can't be seen when you don't show yourself. So you'll always have that struggle of not being seen, because the commitment as a people pleaser is to show up as whoever you think will be accepted. So if I move around relationships, friendships, in this group I'm one person, in that group I'm one person, in that group I'm the other person, then of course I don't feel seen because I'm not showing myself.
Yeah, it almost feels like a schizophrenia within your
my
gut.
God,
It
does.
Like it's crazy.
It does.
And for me, it was a big moment when I got diagnosed with ADHD and autism, because the first thing I learned was, oh my word, you've been masking. And I'm like, what? I thought I was the most authentic person. I've been showing up as me. And all of a sudden, learning to unmask, and that journey, and that's why the word authenticity has become so important to me.
Yeah.
Like I really researched it into something that's so, and how I do it in marketing, how I do it in personal branding, how I do it in customer experiences, or even how I build the community with conscious leaders, is like, how do I use a framework that can always keep me accountable to my authenticity and hold me rooted into how do I get to the truth, not just the truth of who I am as a person, but the truth of every scenario and situation that's happening around me, interrogate it so I can find the truth. Because there's a difference between transparency and honesty. So honesty is where you can say, okay, right, when you ask me a question, I give you the honest answer. But transparency is saying it even when it's not comfortable to answer it. And learning to know you know, where that is happening, not just within you and how you are reflecting yourself towards the world, but how is it happening to you?
Ooh.
Like, what does transparency and honesty look like when it's applied to you? Whether it's a marketing
by you
brand, or it's a lover, or it's a friend. How is it being applied on you, and how are you interrogating it?
And I think for me, I think like where people also lose the source of relationships is there's so much beauty when people connect with you.
Yeah.
Like the level of empowerment you navigate your entire life when people connect with Ukhanyisa, the person that who I truly am. And those connections are so deep, because now I know that you don't love a curated version of myself. You love this version of myself that is true and honest and transparent.
But it also becomes the way to deter the people that you don't want in your life, but it helps you to become determined to climb that altitude.
Yeah.
And to get to the place and the dreams.
And it helps you
have.
connect with the people that you want to connect with. It helps you, it also like gives people information. I would rather have someone choose to disengage with me because of me than engage with me because of who I pretend to be. Does that make sense?
100.
I would rather have you reject me instead of me being like, oh, what can I do to make you accept me? Because that's not true acceptance.
But this is also where with conscious leaders, my big drive, if we want to get women not just at the seat of the table, but having their voices heard, we really need to become comfortable with the fact that not everybody's going to like us. And you cannot people please at all. And you know where you practice this is with your personal branding.
Yeah.
Because you're going to say things that's going to get people going and it's going to make people uncomfortable.
Very.
And you got to be comfortable to, I mean, like for me personally, I've been doing this for 8 years, right? The podcast. But standing on my own and saying my thing, like, you know, it's always been, I don't have no problem. I've traveled 40 countries. I've been on stages. I've done my thing. But what makes it different is I'm not that person anymore. I've evolved.
Yeah.
And now the world needs to start seeing Carmen for who she is now.
Not who she was 8 years ago.
Ages ago. And being able to say, okay, right, how do I integrate into this world now with my new perspective on life? It's uncomfortable to speak your mind because
and speak your truth.
You speak your truth because the people that have been around you and been following you, have been on part of your journey, are not going to agree with this new version of you.
It's so funny. I was asked about that conversation in an interview recently, and like the people that are like, "Oh, we liked you better 8 years ago, Carmen."
I don't like it when people say things like that.
And they do.
Oh,
people do.
Mad.
But the question I follow up with is, what did you like about me 8 years ago? Did you like that I was a people pleaser? Did you like that I had no boundaries? Did you like the things that you were getting from me not knowing who I am? Did you like how I sacrificed myself on your benefit? Because it's not that they don't like who you are now. They just don't like that they don't benefit from everything that you have worked hard not to be anymore.
Sure. Powerful.
Right? And people will want you to commit to a version of you that didn't serve you because it served them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why I'm loving my journey with conscious leaders. Like I am, like, I've had to learn a lot about myself in this past 5 years, but I am so happy with where I'm at, and I'm so happy about the direction. And it's like, let's just go on this journey together. I personally have a problem with the word imposter syndrome sometimes.
You do.
Yeah, I feel like it's starting to feel almost like
everyone's saying it.
Not that everyone's saying it. Finds a place to hide. I'm starting to feel some days that imposter syndrome is a place to hide, to make an excuse of why I can't take up space. And it's real. It does exist.
It does.
It's not like I don't honor it and I don't recognize it when it happens. But we're saying it so nonchalantly in every conversation. Oh, it's the imposter.
It's kind of,
it's the imposter.
It almost feels cute.
It almost like we're making it sexy.
Yeah.
Like, why are we making this sexy? This isn't it's how we've been conditioned to feel and look and believe. You know, I'll share something interesting with you. A woman's sexual organs is internal. A man's sexual organs is external. What makes that different is we feel a lot more. Our feelings, internal emotions are a lot more elevated.
Yeah.
because of that specific thing. And I've learned this through my teachers, and I found it very fascinating. And so we are softer in our approach. We are emotional. We shouldn't hide behind it. And we shouldn't be able to think that it's a weakness. But at the same time, I believe that imposter syndrome is a thing that we use it as a shield every time when we don't want to step out of our comfort zone. And it becomes the thing that helps us to people please more. Yeah. Because it's an imposter. You know, I'm not going to do this thing. Sorry, it was like imposter syndrome. Do you know where I'm getting at?
I hear what you're saying. And honestly, I feel it. I've been doing quite a bit of speaking events. And I feel the quote-unquote imposter syndrome. But the difference is I am skilled, and I'm very proud of myself for this. I'm skilled at feeling fear, at feeling the imposter syndrome, or whatever you want to call it, and I do the thing anyway.
Yeah, you got to do it.
And that's how I define myself as a courageous human being. Because courage is not the absence of those things. It is doing the thing in the presence of those things. Yeah. Yeah. And so if you're like, oh, I have this imposter syndrome, so I'm not gonna go and present, or I'm not gonna go and do the thing that and here's the thing, but you've done the thing that you're feeling imposter about. Like, I've spoken on stages before, but yet sometimes when I go on a stage, there's a thing in my tummy that's like, whoop, what if you say the wrong thing? You know what I'm saying? It happens to like, but as long as it doesn't stop you, and I think for me sometimes, even words like people pleasing and all of this, I always tell people, don't make it sound cute. Be angry at it. Yeah. Be frustrated by it. Because if I make it sound cute to myself, then it's like, oh, it's just, then I'm not going to try to change it. Because I think it's do it afraid. Like you gotta like you have to
embrace that emotion and feel it. The interesting thing is, like, before you go onto a stage, the first 30 seconds is the worst. The rest, once that's over, it's done.
You kind of almost zone out too.
Just plan your first 30 seconds. The
and
rest
you're good
is
to
all
go.
good. Like,
you're good to go.
You're good to go. But I mean, like, this has been such a fascinating conversation because, like, people pleasing shows up in every part of our life, and it can empower us, and we don't want to be invisible. We want to be seen. I mean, like, I'm all about, let's take up more space. You know, we had our designers here the other day, and she wears clothing that goes like,
I love
she says she sits in the middle aisle of an aircraft.
Yes.
Karina, she says, I take up space with my clothing. I'll sit there and I'm like, but you have to be bold enough to even wear that clothing, but also be bold enough to say, I'm actually putting my arms on the armrest because I don't have the aisle seat or the window seat shape. We're for the window seat person.
You know, the course I talked to you about when we started about how women do not negotiate. One of the things, like, they even visually show us is, like, they teach women to sit like this, how you're sitting. And they teach us to be small in our bodies. Right?
Oh my.
Whereas they teach men
to sit. Oh my.
To sit and take up space and own space in their bodies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
You're like, what? Yeah.
Sure.
And they say to be a decent woman, you have to be small and well put together and collected.
And then if you sit the other way around, then you're told like you're a man, or you've had a sex change or something. Like, seriously, have you not heard of these crazy things happening? Yeah, I'm not going to bring that up because I don't want to have lawsuits. But I mean, like, it's just like insane how there is this definition of how you want to show up, and that's where it all comes back to authenticity and people pleasing, or what you said in the beginning. If you can't be authentic if you're people pleasing, and those two play hand in hand. They play ring a rosies together, and you always need to have a little checklist in your head.
They cannot be your both end.
Yeah.
No.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been a phenomenal conversation, but it's been a highly energetic conversation. I really enjoyed our time together. Thank you so much for being so giving and giving your reality, and keep on doing the amazing work that you're doing out there. And hope to see you soon.
Bye.
There you go.
Wow.
How was that?
That was very good. I really enjoyed it.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, I know. Listen, can't go like that everywhere with